I think that in the coming 2 to 3 years, you will see traditional Google search replaced primarily by these AI searches. So if you don't believe that your website's ranking on Google already, then it's not going to be ranking on ChatGPT. Hey, Christian Jones here, CEO of TaxProMarketer, and I've got my colleague Noah Jenks with me as well. Noah, say hello to the audience.
Hey, good to be here. Going to be talking about some fun topics today. If you're not thinking AI, you probably should be. We're going to kind of
Yeah,
talk about some of the ways this is affecting this industry around tax, accounting, things you probably should be aware of, and maybe even some ways to kind of stay ahead of it.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there were some articles that I was getting people sharing with me today from the Wall Street Journal, from other publications as well, just about a new round of impact in the tax and accounting space where, junior level accounting roles and even big firms are obviously, maybe this isn't news to all of you listening, but this stuff is changing so fast that there's a lot of entry level roles in our space that are maybe on the AI chopping block. So that's just fresh on my mind today, that the wider world is looking at the accounting space and saying, like many others, AI is going to have and is already having a drastic impact. So we just wanted to take some time to talk about that and to talk about how you can make some shifts from, if your firm is predominantly tax preparation or predominantly bookkeeping, or maybe a blend, and also the accounting side and what that may mean. And obviously at TaxProMarketer, our angle is digital marketing and marketing best practices in general. And so we want to try and help in this industry bring what should you do if you're in this space in the midst of what is kind of a sea change. There's a tidal wave of adjustment. And I think some of this can be really, really good for people that get ahead of it. But I think some of it is scary. And there's people that are just not panicked maybe, but just kind of seeing what's around the bend and wondering where to go. So we wanted to take some time to talk about that. Generally speaking, in my opinion, which, is not gospel, or, I wouldn't call myself Nostradamus, I think that this is like a 1 to 3 year change. One being really fast, that things just accelerate to the point that it's insane. And I think that some of that is happening in our space. There is an acceleration. It's being talked about everywhere. Everyone I follow is talking about this, but functionally, are your clients, are your customers going to leave you for an AI tax preparation software this next tax season? I don't think so. I think that'll take time to make the shift. I was on a presentation last week, Noah, with a guy who's kind of an AI enthusiast. He started an AI platform for building websites. So I was listening to him talk, and he gave the example of electricity, that when electricity came out, it was still 20 or 30 years, maybe more. It might have been 40. It was still like, let's say 20 to 40 years before the Industrial Revolution kicked off. And so you have the technology, but it didn't create a manufacturing boom overnight. So the technology to make manufacturing great was there, but it took the wider world to figure out like how to wield it, how to put it into like a functional use that then did shift society. And of course, we know with the Industrial Revolution, the manufacturing, the advent of mass manufacturing, what that brought, it was massive change. So again, I'm not an AI skeptic in the sense that I think it's all going to fall apart and be irrelevant. I think that there's a lot here, but I do think that sometimes there's more fear here than is maybe needed. But I do think that it is wise and prudent to start thinking about shifts. So what shifts are we hearing our customers make? What shifts would we recommend? What shifts work? I do think that if your role with your clients is predominantly about, let's call it compliance work, filling out forms, checking in once or twice a year, I think that that business model is perhaps at risk. I think what we want to push forward is, again, not novel, but something that a lot of voices are bringing up and something that we would endorse and something we've done for years. We serve a variety of, let's say swaths of the tax and accounting space. Like we're in the tax preparation space, the accounting space, the bookkeeping space, the tax resolution space, the tax planning space, the fractional CFO space. So we've served a lot of different types of customers in this industry, and we can do it for all of them. But I think if you're running a tax and accounting firm that is predominantly about, let's call it compliance work, I think that what I would encourage you to strongly consider is to listen to the voices, and maybe mine being one of them, that encourage you to start to build a more customer-oriented service package than what you currently have. So a service package that revolves around you being more of an expert and less of just someone that fills out forms, right? I think that the cheap services, the cheap tax prep shops, the cheap whatever it may be, bookkeeping groups, I think that there's real risk in this change. But I also think it's opportunity. So I think one side of the AI coin is if you're in the tax and accounting space, you're going to be able to work more efficiently than ever. But how are you going to keep your clients with your efficient AI softwares if they can go get it themselves for cheaper elsewhere, either directly through a different software or from some other provider? And I think that relationships are going to rule the day. Because while there's also lots of AI optimism, let's say, that AI is going to be both disruptive in good and bad ways, it's going to make things more efficient and streamlined and add margin. Like that's the big use case on AI in our economy, is that AI is going to add to, let's say, GDP simply because efficiency is going to go up, unlike anything we've seen. So the jury's out on that. I think we all can see that AI is definitely going to add like efficiencies to every industry, whether it's this industry or others. It's just happening. It's already kind of happening, like even from last year or the year before, it's like AI summary notes, like what a helpful little invention on my Zoom meetings. That's great. To obviously now like workflows and automations in our space, not to mention just things that can be done by AI that you no longer have to do. I think that you can build a business in this industry that works quicker with more accuracy and takes less of your time than ever before. However, again, if there's a proliferation of software that can do that same work for cheaper, a tax prep software, and again, this is a little bit like the TurboTax fears from like 2018, 2019, I think, where it just, for some reason in those years, it felt like, my God, this is changing the industry. And it kind of did, but also like, everyone we serve is still crushing it and doing great. No one really fell off the map. I do think that this opportunity for people is how do you start to go beyond, again, just compliance and go into being someone that is a face and a name and an advisor, an expert. And that advisory shift can be tax planning. It can be something else. You can be a fractional CFO. You can be a level accountant. You can go that route. You can go into tax representation. I can lean into that more. But I think that your value add in your business simply needs to be looked at. What is it that you bring to the table for your customers and your clientele that is going to insulate and protect your business as this wave kind of comes and crests over the hill and crashes? Good and bad things will happen. Noah, what does that bring up for you? Are any
and
thoughts
what, yeah, I
on
mean,
kind of that idea?
what people really want in this day and age, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but we want things we can trust. I think there's still a lot of skepticism amongst the mass population when it comes to AI. Of this revolution is happening so quickly, and you look back through history of like the doubling down of technology. Typically, it would happen over the course of a number of years. I mean, even if you go from back to your previous example, Christian, of like electricity to the Industrial Revolution, it's like, whatever, 40 years. And then, within that was the combustion engine and all these different things. And this is not going to be a history lesson, but like you just look at the doubling of technology and it's just gotten smaller and smaller and smaller of those windows throughout the course of time. And that's because our access to information has rapidly increased. And now with AI, it's kind of like, this is kind of crazy because if you leverage, whatever, pick your poison, ChatGPT, Claude, Bard, Grok, I don't care which one you use, they kind of all have different purposes. Manus, they're growing so quickly that the level of accessibility to move things forward, but also gain more knowledge is increasing at a terrifying speed. And so on one hand, I think there's a lot of fear, especially with businesses, systems that can be very easily systematized. If you think of like, if anything you do can be highly systematized, AI is going to take that over. Most likely. Not tomorrow, but probably in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years. Like it's probably going to take that thing over. Most likely. Because it can. But we still want people that we trust. We still want people that we know. And I will make the case that you will have people who go into Claude or ChatGPT and type in, how do I save money on my taxes? And Claude, like the AI source will spit out whatever its answer is on that thing. But the reality is like they still don't want to act on this. I think one of the most interesting things I've seen recently, Christian, is everybody, especially on social media, every guru is coming out and they are coming up with different things of the 5 fastest ways to save time on blah, blah, blah. And it's like, everybody's got a hack. Everybody's got a cheat code. But the problem is when you have the ability to become a master of everything, you become a master of nothing because you don't actually put your time. It's kind of like if you have the world open to you, like you don't actually do anything with it. And so that's a little bit of where I feel like we are now. And most people are going to be so inundated. They're already going to be behind the curve of the AI revolution. Most people are. Most people
Right.
are solely using ChatGPT to replace Google. What's the best coffee shop near me? They're just using chat to replicate a traditional Google search. They just happen to be doing it in ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever instead. They're not actually using it to build out complex systems. Some people are, most are not, but people are going to start going there. But I think still at the end of the day, let's kind of come back to this industry we work in, the tax, accounting, bookkeeping, tax resolution space. And these are the type businesses that we serve. Okay, I know that your ideal customer goes to a tax professional because they don't want to know the tax code. They're not interested. They want someone who knows it. Now, of course, if they can go to some AI-generated tax processor and pay $100 instead of $1,000, well, yeah, I think there's going to be a hit on that low-level service, on that entry-level service. But I think if tax firms start positioning themselves and getting seen in a way where they are utilizing the AI space, but they are also coming in as the trusted professional and expert, those are the ones who are going to step ahead. Those are the ones who are going to really rise above.
Yes. And so that speaks to how you stand out in the AI shift that's both here and coming. It does start with marketing and positioning. What is the value you bring to the table? Does your website communicate that? Do your emails reinforce that? Do your reviews showcase that? If you want to stand out in the AI shift that's happening, then before someone gets on the phone with you or emails you, they need to understand this is more than my taxes are done for my business, for my personal life, for whatever, right? This is more than just my books are done. This is, I have someone here who is getting outcomes that go beyond just, again, filing on time. And so the problem is in our industry in general, most people don't get on Google and now AI and search for tax planning services or fractional CFO services. Most of the traffic on Google is for accounting and tax work and bookkeeping, right? Or, yeah, I got a letter from the IRS, I need help. It's for the things that are hard, let's call it that, like hard, clear services, things that you know you need. You have to do your books, you have to file your taxes. That's just a must. But when you get into the advisory space, all of those businesses would benefit. And so it starts with positioning on your website. What is the title of your homepage? What are you asking people to tell you about themselves on your homepage? What happens to them as they give you their information? Is there any follow-up? Is there nurture? Because by the time you get on a sales call, if you're trying to sell advisory services, the battle's kind of mostly won and lost. If you haven't done the heavy lifting, by the time you get on a, let's call it a discovery call with a potential lead, if you haven't done some of the heavy lifting of saying, hey, here's how I serve the world, here's how I serve my city, here's how I serve business owners or individuals, I save them money here, I add efficiency there, I provide expertise here. You are going to charge more, but your value is going to be there. And so this goes from marketing into sales. If you don't have a program or a package or pricing that reflects something that you can sell, and I would even say like a system that can help you sell it. What am I offering? What are my services? How do I do this recurring revenue business? And what are the expectations? Marketing and sales go really well together. So in some sense, I'm the marketer and I'm telling you, we want to position you. If you want to move to the advisory side of things, whatever part of that kind of generalized bucket you find yourself in, tax planning, CFO work, something else. There's lots of specifics, right? There's lots of like advisory specific niches within the advisory space. It means a little bit of something different to everyone. But if that's you, then your audience is smaller, just to begin with. You're not going after everyone, but you do want to bubble to the surface the leads that are going to make sense. And that does come back to marketing. It comes back to positioning and branding and content. It comes back to your ad campaign. So let me hit you with like 3, maybe 4 things. What would I do right now if I were wanting to position my tax or accounting firm, my CPA firm, my bookkeeping firm to be able to survive the AI wave and to be a port in the storm to your clients? What would I do? First, again, I'll beat the dead horse just a little bit more. Start with your website or lack thereof. If you don't have a website, that's step 1, but most of you have one and it's not doing anything for you. Your website has 2 jobs. The simplest way I've ever found to explain what a website's supposed to do: get found by your ideal audience and start a conversation. There's a lot of other components to a website that matter, but those are so essential and core to marketing that it's where we have to start. So most websites in our industry are glorified business cards. It's what we've called them for years. They're cheap. They're commodities themselves. They don't make you stand out. It's just something that a lot of accountants or tax preparers or bookkeepers are like, I guess I need to have one. You might have built it on Wix. You might have had someone else build it for cheap. Some of you actually spent a lot of money on your website, but if it's not working, I don't want it. I want it to do 2 jobs. I want it to help me get found, and I want it to help me start conversations. That's it. That's your website's main jobs as a business owner. So if you own an accounting firm, tax firm, a CPA firm, you need to ask yourself first, is my website helping me get in front of my ideal audience? And can I start a conversation with that audience? Here's what's not helping you start conversations: a contact form that's name, email, and what can I help you with? That's not it. Because once you say top of funnel, top of a marketing funnel, I get visible, I get found, then we have to go to nurture. So we first need to ask good questions. Hey, what do you need help with? Do you owe the IRS money? Have you ever done tax planning? Do you have real estate? Do you own a couple of businesses? What is it that you're on my site to talk about? Let's ask some questions and try and understand what your leads' problems are. Let's make them the focus of your site, and let's start to position like, hey, we're going to have a better conversation than I just need someone to do my taxes. I'm going to ask a level 2 question, not level 1. We're going to go a little bit deeper because, again, we're trying to understand at TaxProMarketer, I'm trying to understand the end goal of your customers. And it's not just the thing being done. It's also safety. It's security and safety. That's why a lot of people stay with you guys, and why you get so many referrals from your best clients is they feel safe, they feel secure, they feel taken care of. And when you're dealing with taxes as a non-tax person, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's scary, and they just want to make it go away. And so we want to start by asking questions of your leads on your site. Hey, what problems can we make go away? What's keeping you up at night? What do you need help with? What's not working? If you start with that orientation, now we can follow up in the middle of the funnel. So top of funnel is get found and start a conversation with your website. Middle of funnel is let's start to nurture them via email. I've said for years that a lot of people come to us for lead gen, and that's still true. They just need more leads. Christian, I want to grow. I got a sales guy now or a sales gal. I'm ready to go, or I just have more capacity. I've got more producers, so get me more calls. Great. What a lot of people come to find is one of the most valuable things that a tax or accounting firm has. I would even say maybe the most valuable thing they have is their customer database. Your customer list is the most valuable thing you have. Why? These are the people that have either agreed to give you money or have agreed to maybe give you money, right? Some of them are leads or former clients. And if you're not nurturing and engaging your current clients and your current list, that's a gap. So again, I started this chat with, by the time you get someone who finds you online and they go through this process, before they get on the call, they should kind of be like pre-sold. I'm not saying it's like fish in a barrel, because sometimes these sales cycles are longer than one call. However, if you're doing great email follow-up and nurturing your customers and leads, really good things are going to happen, because you're going to have people showing up to the call having received a few weeks of emails where you're talking about some really important topics. So like a week ago, we wrote on the tariff refund, deal that Trump released. Is that a tax or accounting thing? Kind of, right? It's obviously adjacent, it's related, but we want to position our customers and you. I want to position you. If you come to me with this problem, I want you to be the trustworthy expert. Why? Again, this is what's going to keep people with you in the proliferation of AI. If you are writing authoritative but relational, long form, great content pieces to your list, they will read it. We are seeing 40 to 50% open rates across all of our clients. I'll say that again. 40 to 50% across all of our clients are opening the emails that we're writing and sending on their behalf. That's powerful because that shows any marketer that we're on to some interest, or we're on to like the pulse here. We have our finger on the pulse of what our audience wants to hear. High email open rates means that the message, the media, and what you're bringing to the table is just a match. So the message, the media being email, and the message being, hey, let me keep you in the loop with more than just deadlines. Let me keep you in the loop with more of what I'm thinking. It's like if you sat down, Mr. or Mrs. CPA, if you sat down once a week to write a personalized strategy note of all the things you're getting CPE on, or all the things that you're thinking about, or all the things you're worried about, or all the things that you think. That's what we do for people. And again, you can do that without us, but that's a thing that we bring to the table that we found is incredibly helpful. And I think it's going to help our clients through the AI revolution avoid the AI slop as well. So this is another thing. AI slop is a real problem. I can go to ChatGPT. I could write an email in 5 seconds. Write me an email on tariffs. You could do that. But what if it's 15 to 20% wrong? Or what if it's just written in a way that doesn't get past spam filters? Or what if it's written in a way that people just start to ignore because it's like every ChatGPT thing reads like this. And it's annoying. And so again, like middle of funnel, how do you make that positional change to be either I already am an advisory firm, but I want to really lean into it more, or I'm not, and I want to kind of, again, diversify my business. I want to position my business for success. You have to do some heavy lifting via email. You have to. It's such a scalable solution, but most people just haven't ever seen it. They've never seen it. They've never seen email done in a way that puts them in the mind of their lead or their client that is like, I'm now the expert. I'm now the branded positional expert on these topics. They want to hear from you. Your customers and leads want to hear from you, and you can upsell them, you can cross-sell them, you can keep them and have higher retention rates. All of those things are true, and it does come down to your service level, ultimately, like you guys doing a good job, but let's just assume you're good at your job. Email is where it gets reinforced. And another reason is that people, when they cancel, typically cancel not because you're doing a bad job. They cancel because they don't feel like you care. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever had someone cancel because they just felt like, I haven't heard from you in months. What's even going on? Do you even care? Email is where you can scratch that itch and stay in front of them with something that's, again, like low commitment, but when it's done with authority and relationship. So you're writing on stuff that's important and you're doing it not as a newsletter. Don't do a newsletter. I don't like newsletters. I just don't think for our space that's best. Some spaces, newsletters are okay. Not here. I think that you need to personalize and add weekly fresh takes that are not like sharky and salesy, but it's just trying to add value. If you sow into this, you'll be in such good position. But yeah, Noah, hop in.
Well, we hear this all the time of like, seriously, email marketing? Like, you really still do this? And it's like, listen, our open rates speak for themselves. But I always encourage people, think about, we all use email. Like every single person uses it now, and you get spammy stuff that you don't open. And you also get stuff that you do open. It just kind of depends on what you're into. I am into personal fitness and health and eating well. Like those are things that interest me. And so there's a couple emails that I get every single week, and I open them and I read them. No, I'm not signing up for that guy's program, but why do I open up that email? Because it's valuable, because they have good insight. They have good tips. And now I do know that if I were ever on the market to have a personal trainer, or if I really wanted to like hit some physical fitness goal, I trust this guy. Like I trust because he's authoritative. He knows what he's talking about. And the thing is in the tax and accounting industry, it's going to become that much more critical that you become authoritative with your clients. You cannot be just the tax preparer, just the accountant anymore. You can't do that anymore because there are too many, quote, authoritative sources at this point. And if you do not make the shift to being the one in the spotlight, they will go somewhere else. They will go to have ChatGPT answer their questions or someone who's positioned better. Here's another one that's interesting. We're seeing the shift happen more and more to people searching on different AI sources. Our clients are telling us that they're getting leads very consistently through ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Manus. Like they're telling Gemini. Now, let's go a level deeper. Google is what's called a keyword search. Tax preparer, accountant, bookkeeper, CPA. Like people put in a word based on a keyword and someone ranks. That's called that falls under the SEO, search engine optimization. When you optimize the search engines the correct way, how your website's built, content, blogging, keywords, there's a lot of different moving pieces to that. When you do that, you show up well in a keyword search. But the world is quickly moving to what's called GEO, generative engine optimization. But it's not a completely new game. The foundational principles of SEO, how your website's built, the content, the active keywords, the Google reviews, the SEO, your digital authority, your reputation, that's what these AI sources are pulling from. And so if you want to rank in this new landscape, you still have to do all this stuff over here. And if you're not doing this stuff, well, you're already way behind the curve. Doesn't mean you can't catch up. You can. We help people with that every single day. But if you just ignore this whole landscape and you get a cheap website and you have cheap carbon copy content and you don't bother putting any time into Google reviews, you're not going to then rank in AI. And I will tell you with a lot of certainty, the world is moving towards AI. And if you don't believe that, you probably have your head stuck in a hole or you're locked in a closet. But like this is the buzz of everything and it's not going anywhere. The train is moving to, like it or not, again, I have some ethical issues against AI, but it's like it or not, we are moving that direction as a society, a global society. And so you have two choices. Ignore it and get left in the dust, or get on the train and try to either stay with it or get ahead of it. But you have, if you want to stay viable, you have to do that. We started this by saying AI is, and again, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but it will get rid of some of the task-oriented things in the tax and accounting industry. Not trying to be doomsday. You have to stay ahead of it. Tax planning, tax advisory, tax resolution, high-end accounting. These are things that are viable that people still really need, but also these are trust-based services. Tax advisory. Who do we take advice from? We take advice from people we know, like, and trust. So if you want to get more advisory clients, you need these people who don't know you to like and trust you. That's kind of a bigger thing, but part of it is you have to get positioned for that stuff first. And if you don't do that, it's kind of, it concerns me for some of these businesses, Christian, of just, if they kind of keep doing business as usual, it's going to come up and smack a lot of people. I don't know what the time frame is, but it does concern me that it is going to affect this industry, but you can't stay ahead of it. You can really get ahead of this.
You can. And it's again, like the arms race is starting. I do love that you brought up, of course, from an AI angle, how do you AI proof your business? Well, you rank on AI for these terms, and it's GEO, generative engine optimization, is like again, another acronym, the LLMs, right? ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, etc. It's a cousin to SEO. So like Noah said, the way you succeed on GEO or AEO, like answer engine optimization, which is another thing for another day, is what are you doing on your website? What content is there and how's it built? How do your reviews look? And that builds authority and trust. So in some sense, like what if you asked yourself 20 years ago, Google's not brand new, but getting started really 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Google's really starting to kind of like be a household name, and Google it is like a verb. What if you back then had the ability and the foresight to say, I need to build my digital marketing ecosystem around Google, and I'm just going to lean into it? You'd be doing really well, right? If you had 20 plus years of traction on what Google wanted you to do, you'd be crushing it. This is another moment in time that I think is similar. I think that in the coming 2 to 3 years, you will see traditional Google search replaced primarily by these AI searches, these GEO searches. And so if you don't believe that your website's ranking on Google already, then it's not going to be ranking on ChatGPT. It's not going to be ranking on Gemini. It's not going to be ranking on Claude. And people will find you. I've had multiple leads in the last couple of weeks find us on ChatGPT because we're the top ranked marketing agency for accountants. And so we've had leads come through and be like, I'm sold. Again, because they found us and asked ChatGPT and they trusted ChatGPT. Just like they have Google, but it's a different game. And so there are ways to position yourself so that you get picked up in those localized searches and that you feed the machine, but it's not a template-based website. It's just not. And it's not no email follow-up either, right? So let's summarize here. The AI shift is coming. You want to go to the advisory space. How do you get in front of those leads? Fix your website. Your website needs to speak to those leads and speak to their pain. It also needs to help ChatGPT get you ranked. You then need to have a mechanism for converting those leads. That starts a conversation, and that conversation needs to be continued through regular email marketing. The last thing I would add here, so just to add one more thing, you're going to probably have to go to a pay-to-play game with advisory leads more than others, right? So instead of just letting organically leads come through, you're going to have to go get them. You're going to have to do ads with all the branding, with the positioning. Now my website is dialed in to speak to the advisory space. Now my emails are going to be sent. Now I'll go and do ads. So when you've got reviews, when you've got a proper website, when you've got an email follow-up system, ads work great. Google ads, Meta ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads, there's lots of places to do ads. But ads can be gas on the fire when you have marketing infrastructure. If you don't have marketing infrastructure, ads don't typically work as well. When you have marketing infrastructure, you're going to do excellent with ads. So some of our top performing clients from an ads perspective, they've got the website we've built them that also converts and starts conversations. They've got amazing reviews and they're good at sales. And when they get a lead, they have a program. They have pricing, a package. They have something to offer. So it's not, like what I think you probably hate right now, or maybe you don't know you hate it because you don't know any different, is when you get on a call with a lead and you just have to spend the first 15 to 30 minutes. Who are you and what do you need help with? What if we solve that? What if in the age of AI, you were able to build a marketing infrastructure that says, by the time we get on the call, we're all kind of on the same page. So we can use your time well and just tell you how we can serve you. That's a huge part of what marketing can do. So again, I think that that's like a strong consideration is once you have the marketing infrastructure in place, that's where advertising starts to become a really appealing thing. Advertising on its own can work, but what happens when you turn it off? Your leads go away. Your leads vanish. If you're in a pay-to-play system, which I love, I'm a big ads fan, you should do ads. But you want to have the marketing infrastructure so that you're not completely dependent on that. You want to be pushing forward on still ranking on Google. Google's not dead. And leveraging ChatGPT and all the other AI search platforms. Yes, yes, yes. But sending email is always right. Posting to Facebook, LinkedIn is always right, even if you're not in a high growth season. So I would encourage people to do marketing and ads year round. Maybe ads you can pause, but generally speaking, our highest performing, highest growth clients, they're ranking everywhere. They rank on ChatGPT. They have a good sales team. They have their programs and packages, but they also never stop marketing. So it's May when we're doing this live presentation. There is lots of time to AI-proof your business and become the port in the storm for your clients and get the most out of what AI can bring in terms of scalable efficiencies. AI is going to make your jobs a lot easier. Like the task management, the workflow management in the tax and accounting space for the savvy business owner is going to get awesome. Some of the staffing problems that I think our industry has been plagued by will get better because of AI. Not go away, but get better. You still need someone to manage those workflows, right? But generally speaking, you should be able to serve more clients. Your capacity, just like the macro narrative in the economy, should be true. Your capacity should go up. It may not be this year that you find the perfect software. QuickBooks may not get it right this year, or whatever you're using may not fully roll out the thing that makes your life easier, but it's coming. That's back to the electricity and the manufacturing kind of idea. It is coming that I think this new technology will find its home in some manufacturing plant, if you will, and just revolutionize the way that a business is run. And you want to be ready to scale and grow with that wave. So I would encourage you to strongly take a look at your marketing ecosystem right now. You can do that by grabbing a call with us. Go to taxproleads.com, grab a call with Noah or I, and let's talk about AI. Let's look at your infrastructure. Let's look at your follow-up. Let's look at your competition. Let's try and understand who it is you serve and what makes you unique. And what about advisory? Are you going to kind of move to? Again, that can be a lot of things, but advisory is a buzzword right now, but it's also like not new. There's a lot of firms that do advisory work, and there's a lot of rails you can jump on to start running this direction. There's a few groups I might name. One would be the CFO Project, a great group. Diana over there, she's a CEO. They run a great program. Adam Lean started it. Can definitely recommend if you need help revolutionizing. I think there's other groups as well. I think the Woodard Group, kind of Scaling New Heights crowd is another good audience to start to maybe draft off of. I think AICTP with Dominique Molina is a tax planning oriented audience or group that can help you get into tax planning. And as you get your bearings on how I'm going to shift and move, you got your coaching, you get your new accreditation, you should also simultaneously be building the marketing engine, because this stuff takes time. It's not an overnight success. Marketing is most of the time a long pursuit in the same direction. And our clients that have been with us for 7 or 8 years, man, they're slaying it. They're slaying it. We've got case studies on some of those clients on our website. We can go over more. But I want to encourage you that as a business owner, you need to sharpen the sword and you need to expand your reach. So what is it that you want to start to focus on? How will you add new value to your relationships? How will you add new value to your customers in the coming 1 to 2 years, maybe 3 years? Take steps towards that. Don't be overwhelmed. Take time. But being intentional right now is definitely going to serve you well. If you're being intentional to shift and adapt, you'll be okay. Because there are still going to be a high demand of people that need a qualified, competent, awesome accountant. It's going to be a thing. It's not going anywhere. But the ones that get picked and that stick, those are going to be the ones that bring more to the table than just compliance.
Yeah. I hope the takeaway, Christian, you put it so well that, this all builds on each other. But the other takeaway, it's not too late. You are at the vanguard of this revolution. So stay in front of it. Get in front of it if you want to be successful, if you want to really grow with this.
Yes. Thanks again, Noah, for joining. Thanks to everyone else for listening in. And taxproleads.com if you want to keep the conversation going. And we're going to keep putting out more content on AI. I'll be speaking on that a number of times this year. We'll do panels. We'll do, reviews of clients, et cetera. So keep your eyes out for that. We want to help you guys be at the forefront of making pivots and changes in this way and in this new dynamic. So until next time, we'll catch you soon. See ya.